CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Well, with the removal of protesters from the square expected at any time, plans are going ahead for an outdoor skating rink in Centennial Square. But the Downtown Victoria Business Association says it has been forced to delay laying down the ice because of Occupy Victoria. The DVBA's Ken Kelly spoke to us in the square this afternoon before being heckled by campers.
We've agreed since day one that we would leave this space completely vacant for you to put your skating rink in. We've done that for 3 weeks straight. Why aren't you putting your rink in?
Unfortunately, it's the image that everybody has of the square at the present time.
The DVBA had planned to begin work on the outdoor rink today for the ice to be ready this Saturday to coincide with the Centennial Square light up. Kelly says the ice rink opening will now be delayed by 1 week to Saturday, December 3rd. Equipment is expected to arrive tomorrow and the ice maker will follow on Friday. Kelly is disappointed by the change. He says the DVBA's been working on the project for 6 months after dreaming of doing it for years.
There was this large idealistic movement in which people wanted to change the world economic order. Well, unfortunately, they weren't able to raise the discussion to a higher level of constructive or creative thought, and I think it's about time things move on. It's time to return a public space to the public.
We don't want to block or hinder that in any way, shape, or form, but we just also don't want the Occupy and everything that it represents to be swept under the carpet for Christmas either.
The City of Victoria says the ice rink can't be installed until the square is disinfected, crews check for exposed electrical wire, and make sure the area is completely safe for children and for families. A dead harbor porpoise washed ashore in Oak Bay this afternoon. The porpoise was spotted this afternoon by a CTV News viewer on Willows Beach. Porpoises are known to travel alone and are preyed upon by killer whales. A zoologist says it looks as if a predator took a chunk out of the young porpoise.
It's got a big chunk right out from behind its head. The skull's showing, the blowhole's been ripped out, and you can see the ribs and the scapula and stuff. So it's not so nice to look at, and it looks like, yeah, a predator might have done it. Whether that was a killer whale or a shark or something, right now it's kind of hard to tell. There's kind of very few rake marks or teeth marks to try to help determine that, but definitely an expert would be able to figure that one out.
The zoologist says she will call the DFO to see if it wants to collect any samples or perform a necropsy. If you happen to come across mammals on the beach, biologists advise you to call the Marine Mammal Incident Reporting Hotline at 1-800-465-4336. A man at large in Victoria is once again behind bars. Darnell Pratt surrendered himself to police around 11 on Saturday night in the 1100 block of Esquimalt Road. The 22-year-old was wanted by police since he walked away from a halfway house in Victoria on November 7th. Pratt was in the midst of serving a 9-year prison sentence for manslaughter. He was 16 when he killed Grant DePady in Maple Ridge, dragging him under his car after a gas and dash.
Well, this was a case that was very high profile, as you know. There was pressure from people in the community that was associated to him. There was pressure from us on our sources that may have seen him or heard from him. Those messages were loud and clear that he needed to do the right thing and turn himself in. So he contacted us on Saturday, and that we arranged to pick him up.
Police are thanking the public for their help in putting Pratt back behind bars. The number of applicants to run the CPR Steamship Terminal building on Victoria's Inner Harbour is getting smaller. CTV News has learned that Victoria pub owner Matt McNeil withdrew his application just hours before the deadline. That leaves 3 interested groups looking to take over the historic building, and today one of the applicants was showing off its proposal. The Maritime Museum of British Columbia, currently operating in Bastion Square, is looking to develop a waterfront museum to house the more than 20,000 artifacts in its collection. Today, the organization presented its proposal to the Provincial Capital Commission, the government agency that owns the building.
Our plan is to build a 21,000 square foot maritime attraction on the Inner Harbour that not only looks to the past like maritime museums do, but looks to the future. It features high-tech things for kids, features retail and food and beverage, and it links the harbour and the people to the building.
Other applicants looking at the steamship terminal are Oak Bay Marine Group, looking to build a high-tech attraction showcasing First Nations, and the Greater Victoria Harbour Authority is looking to lease the site with a mix of tenants. The successful applicant will be announced by the end of this month. An exhibit of delicious dwellings is being unveiled in Victoria in support of Habitat for Humanity. The third annual Great Gingerbread Showcase features the works of local bakers, both professionals and amateurs. The homes ranged from marzipan-encrusted mansions to cookie-shingled condos. Last year's event raised nearly $5,000 for Habitat for Humanity, which helped build new homes for low-income families in our community.
And rather than looking at affordable housing from a subsidy point of view, we actually sell the homes. So we believe that you can break the cycle of poverty by home ownership and providing families that otherwise wouldn't have this opportunity access to equity and that sense of community that you get when you actually own your own home.
This year's fundraising goal is $10,000. The exhibit runs through January 2nd at the Inn at Laurel Point. Good evening. Wind and rainfall warnings are in effect on parts of Vancouver Island tonight, with gusts of up to 100 kilometers per hour expected in some areas overnight. Windy weather today has forced BC Ferries to cancel a number of sailings between Departure Bay and Horseshoe Bay and between Comox and Powell River. The wind started up early this morning, forcing ferries to cancel the 6:30 and the 8:30 out of Departure Bay. Throughout the day, sailings were delayed on a number of major and minor routes due to the wind. Travelers heading for the mainland out of Nanaimo say sailing delays come with the territory when you're on Vancouver Island.
Well, I heard that we're going to be in for a bit of a nasty fall this year, and I think this is probably just the start of it. So
I'm feeling like I should be heading south early, but I'm here for the time being.
Well, if you've lived here as long as I have, then you expect this weather.
Sailings resumed on the Departure Bay to Horseshoe Bay run at 10:30 this morning, but some of the minor routes are still facing delays and cancellations due to extreme weather. The Occupy movement is losing steam across North America, with many protesters leaving on their own and the rest being forced out with court orders. But in Nanaimo, Occupy may be about to grow. Occupy Victoria protesters who were forced out of Centennial Square this afternoon say they may relocate to friendlier territory in the harbour city. The Occupy Nanaimo movement has seen little pressure from police and city officials and continues to stand in Diana Krall Plaza.
We'll continue to negotiate. We'll try to find a middle ground. So far, we're still, on good relations. We still have that open line of communication, which is good. But in the end, there's certain things that we're not going to be able to back down on, and I'm sure they feel the same way in regards to city bylaws and whatnot. But I guess it comes down to the question of what trumps what, human rights or bylaws.
Newly re-elected Mayor John Rattan says he supports the occupiers' right to protest, but it becomes more difficult to support them when bylaws are being broken.
The problem with laws, all laws, you can't enforce some of them and not others. You have to either unilaterally enforce all the laws or none of the laws, and that's the challenge we've got right now. And Occupy Nanaimo is aware of that. We really don't want to get involved with any court action, and we're hoping that we can work out an arrangement with Occupy Nanaimo.
The mayor says he's very aware of the possibility of protesters from other cities coming to Nanaimo to join the occupation at Diana Krall Plaza. He says although the city will continue to resolve the issue through negotiation, he has been clear with the protesters that occupying the plaza overnight in tents cannot continue. Angry voters had their say in the Cowichan Valley, defeating a proposed eco depot in a referendum. The recycling center was being planned for a site on Cameron Taggart Road. The issue became so heated, the Cowichan Valley Regional District decided to send it to referendum. More than 2,600 people voted against the eco depot, with just over 1,400 voting in favor of it. The CVRD says it will respect the voters' wishes and search for a new site.
As a whole, we're pretty surprised by the reaction. We thought it's a contentious issue for a lot of people, but we thought it'd be a lot closer of a vote, or probably in favor, but that wasn't the case. So we're quite surprised by the result. It's non-binding, actually. It's called an opinion referendum, so it's not actually allowed to be binding because it's just an opinion referendum. But the incumbent directors all said they would honor the results.
People who led the charge against the eco depot say they're thrilled with the results and they hope the CVRD sticks to its word. But they say a court case is still in progress that may determine that the CVRD was acting illegally throughout the process.
The bigger question here is, why did you go to the public and ask if it should be here when the case is in front of the court? The judge has not ruled yet. He's heard both sides, and he's going to rule whether it's legal or not that they can do that. We think he's going to say it is not legal to put a dump or a recycling facility on this agriculture and forest land.
The CVRD has not said what it will do with the site on Cameron-Taggart Road.